We're not looking at where your industry stands today. And we're certainly not looking at where your company stands. Because by the end of this explainer, we are going to figure out exactly where you stand against AI, right inside your actual role. Most people never do this. They read a headline, they feel a quick flash of worry, and then they go right back to working exactly the way they were working before. And honestly, that inaction is the real risk.
The thing is, the risk is not AI itself. The real risk is simply not knowing. So today I am going to give you a method, a highly practical one. This is something you can do right now, over the next 10 minutes, on a plain sheet of paper, and you will walk away with an honest answer about your career. And let's be completely clear about something before we begin. This explainer is not about some massive technology company, and it's not about broad market trends. It is entirely about you and your daily work.
But to understand why we must do this today, let's look at one very brief reality check. Consider Infosys. They hired over 20,000 new graduates this year, while at the exact same time, their AI business alone crossed $1 billion in revenue. Now on paper, that looks like fantastic news for everyone involved. But their own CEO shared a very specific detail, sitting quietly right underneath that massive headline.
He noted that their engineers are now being trained to work with AI tools, not around them. And what this brilliantly illustrates is a very quiet reality. The value of specific tasks inside every single role is already shifting. It's happening quietly, and it's happening without any official announcement. And the thing is, that shift doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't wait for you to notice. The only real move you have is to get ahead of it yourself. And that is exactly what we are going to do right now.
Okay, so let's dive straight into this method. I call it the three-column audit. For this, I want you to literally or even just mentally take a blank page right now. Go ahead and draw 2 lines straight down the middle of it so you're left with 3 distinct columns. We're going to go through these one by one, very deliberately. In column 1, I want you to write down every single task you actually did this past week. Now let's be clear here. Do not write down your job title and do not write down your official job description. You need to write down the real, specific things you executed. Then we move to column 2. For each task you just listed, ask yourself one simple question. Could a current AI tool do a rough first version of this in under 2 minutes? We're not asking if the AI is perfect, just a rough first draft. Simply write yes or no. Finally, we come to column 3. For every single task where you wrote yes, you must ask yourself the much harder question. Am I the person who catches what the AI gets wrong, or do I take what the AI produced and simply pass it along?
Let me walk you through what this actually looks like for a real professional. Let's say you're a mid-level manager, and half of your column 1 is writing weekly reports and creating summaries. We already know AI can draft those in seconds, so column 2 is a definite yes. Now, if your honest answer in column 3 is, I mostly just format the document and send it out, that right there is your exact skill gap. Conversely, if you're debugging code, and in column 3, you recognize that you are actively catching the logical errors the AI completely missed, you are providing a very different kind of value.
Because here is what nobody tells you plainly. The truth lives entirely in the third column. AI is not actually replacing tasks. It is replacing the version of you that performs a task without adding a layer of human judgment on top of it. If most of your column 3 answers are, I catch what it gets wrong, you are in a very strong position. Your value is no longer the manual task itself. Your value is the expert judgment sitting on top of the task. That is exactly the kind of role that will grow rather than shrink over the coming years.
But what if most of your honest answers in that third column are, I just pass it along? Let me be very clear. That is not a reason to panic. It's simply information. In fact, it is the single most useful piece of information you could have received today. Because now, instead of vaguely worrying about the future of your career, you know precisely what you need to build. If your gap is formatting reports, your specific, learnable skill is adding the judgment layer that AI simply cannot fake, like spotting when a summary is technically correct but strategically wrong for your specific client.
That is the entire point of this exercise. It turns a vague, overwhelming fear into a highly specific, fixable list of skills you can start learning today. Now, quick thing before we move to the final step. I am currently building out a second explainer where I will go column by column through 5 different real-world job roles showing exactly what this gap looks like for each of them in practice. If seeing those concrete examples will be useful to you, please subscribe now so you don't miss it when it's released.
Now, here's what I want you to actually do with your own 3 columns once you've filled them in, because here is the real failure point. Most people stop right here. They do the exercise, they feel a bit better, or perhaps a bit worried, and then absolutely nothing changes. Don't be that person. This exercise only has value if it turns into a specific plan of action, and that is exactly the part I help professionals with directly. We're not talking about some generic video course that teaches AI in broad strokes. I mean a one-on-one session where we sit down and go through your actual 3 columns together. We look at your actual role, we identify your actual gaps, and we build a specific plan to close them. If you want to do that, message me the word SCORE on WhatsApp. You can send me your 3 columns if you've already done the exercise, or just message me and I will walk you through it live, one-on-one.
Here is the honest truth I want to leave you with today. Nobody is coming to hand you a warning before your role quietly changes underneath you. Your company will keep hiring. They will keep announcing good news. They will keep posting record AI revenue. All of that can be completely true, while your specific task list quietly gets rewritten without a single meeting being scheduled to discuss it with you. That piece of paper is the closest thing you will ever have to an early warning system. Use it, take it seriously. And if you want help acting on what it tells you, I am just one message away.